A remote valley in northwestern Vietnam would become the decisive battleground between colonial ambition and revolutionary determination in 1954. French commanders believed Dien Bien Phu could lure enemy forces into a conventional battle, securing control over the region. Meanwhile, Vietnamese leadership under Ho Chi Minh and Vo Nguyen Giap prepared a strategy rooted in endurance and mobility. French forces parachuted into the valley, rapidly establishing fortified positions designed to withstand prolonged engagement and aerial resupply. Engineers constructed a network of strongpoints, believing superior firepower and air support would neutralize any surrounding threat. Unseen in the hills, Viet Minh forces began an immense logistical operation, transporting heavy artillery across nearly impassable terrain. Hidden artillery positions allowed Viet Minh forces to dominate the battlefield, overturning French assumptions about terrain and capability. Sustained bombardment crippled the airstrip, isolating the garrison and severing its primary logistical lifeline. Gradually, trench systems crept closer, transforming the battle into a relentless siege of attrition. Coordinated assaults intensified as Viet Minh forces systematically dismantled each fortified position through overwhelming numbers and tactical persistence. Within the command bunker, leadership faced mounting pressure as defensive lines collapsed and communication deteriorated. The final breakthrough came as remaining strongpoints were overrun, ending organized resistance within the besieged valley. The fall of Dien Bien Phu marked a decisive defeat for French colonial forces and reshaped the geopolitical landscape of Southeast Asia. International negotiations soon followed, leading to agreements that formally ended French colonial presence in Indochina. The battle accelerated the division of Vietnam, setting conditions for future conflict and prolonged international involvement in the region. Today, Dien Bien Phu stands as a symbol of strategic resilience and the enduring consequences of colonial conflict. The battlefield fell silent as exhausted forces consolidated positions, marking the end of one of the most decisive sieges of the 20th century. Local civilians soon re-entered the valley, transforming a site of destruction into a symbol of endurance and national determination. General Vo Nguyen Giap emerged as a central architect of victory, demonstrating the effectiveness of unconventional strategic thinking. Across the world, the scoot of Dien Bien Phu shocked observers and reshaped perceptions of colonial military power. The battle demonstrated how terrain, logistics, and adaptability could outweigh technological and firepower advantages in modern warfare. French reliance on static defense contrasted sharply with the mobility and resilience of Viet Minh operational methods. Military strategists worldwide studied the siege as a defining example of asymmetric warfare overcoming conventional doctrine. Beyond strategic outcomes, the battle imposed a profound human cost on soldiers and civilians caught within the prolonged conflict. The valley became a place of remembrance, where sacrifice and loss were embedded into the historical landscape. Generations later, personal memory and national identity continue to be shaped by the legacy of Dien Bien Phu. Dien Bien Phu remains a defining moment where determination, strategy, and historical circumstance converged to reshape an entire region. Its legacy continues to influence modern geopolitics, reminding the world how past conflicts shape present realities. The outcome at Dien Bien Phu reverberated beyond Vietnam, influencing strategic calculations within the broader context of Cold War rivalry. Major powers reassessed regional dynamics, recognizing Southeast Asia as a critical arena in ideological and geopolitical competition. Early involvement by external actors began shaping future conflicts, extending the consequences far beyond the original battlefield. The division of Vietnam created political instability, setting the stage for future confrontation between opposing ideological systems. Large-scale population movements reflected uncertainty and fear as communities adjusted to newly imposed boundaries. External support and advisory roles gradually expanded, laying the groundwork for a much larger and more complex conflict. Military institutions studied the siege as evidence that static fortifications could become liabilities under conditions of encirclement. Logistics emerged as a decisive factor, demonstrating how sustained supply lines could determine the outcome of prolonged engagements. Control of elevation and terrain proved critical, reshaping modern understanding of battlefield positioning and tactical advantage. Dien Bien Phu became a powerful symbol of national resistance and collective identity within Vietnam's historical narrative. Its lessons are preserved through education, ensuring future generations understand the significance of the struggle. Memorials and commemorations continue to connect the present with a defining moment in the nation's past. The echoes of Dien Bien Phu extend beyond history, shaping political thought, military doctrine, and national identity across generations. What began in a remote valley continues to influence how conflicts are understood in the modern world. The battle highlighted contrasting military philosophies, where centralized control struggled against decentralized and adaptive operational methods. Individual endurance played a critical role, as soldiers on both sides faced extreme physical and psychological demands. The confined nature of the French defenses intensified pressure, limiting flexibility and reducing opportunities for strategic adjustment. Dien Bien Phu illustrated a fundamental shift in warfare, where flexibility and local adaptation overcame rigid military structures. Different logistical approaches revealed how sustainability could outweigh reliance on technologically advanced supply systems. The positioning of artillery redefined battlefield dominance, emphasizing control of terrain over numerical superiority alone. The siege became a case study in military academies, influencing how future leaders approached unconventional conflict environments. Encirclement tactics and logistical resilience were examined as critical elements in achieving strategic success. Lessons drawn from the battle continue to inform modern doctrine and operational planning worldwide. Artifacts and visual reconstructions preserve the memory of Dien Bien Phu, ensuring its events remain accessible to future generations. Public engagement with history reinforces its relevance, connecting individual experience with broader national narratives. The continuity between past and present reflects how historical events shape identity, memory, and collective understanding. Time has transformed the battlefield into a place of reflection, where history is remembered rather than relived. Dien Bien Phu endures as a reminder that determination and strategy can alter the course of global history. Geography proved decisive, as the French position in the valley exposed them to sustained fire from surrounding elevations. Camouflage and concealment allowed Viet Minh artillery to operate effectively while remaining difficult to target. Aerial resupply became increasingly unreliable, weakening the defensive capacity of the isolated French garrison. Leadership decisions shaped the course of the battle, reflecting contrasting approaches to risk, timing, and operational flexibility. General Vo Nguyen Giap emphasized patience and preparation, adapting strategy to maximize long-term advantage. French command structures, constrained by position and expectations, struggled to respond effectively to evolving conditions. The Viet Minh logistical system relied on human endurance, enabling sustained operations in terrain inaccessible to mechanized transport. Disassembled artillery was transported and reassembled, allowing heavy weapons to be deployed in unexpected positions. In contrast, French reliance on aerial supply created vulnerabilities that intensified as the siege progressed. Psychological pressure intensified as isolation, constant bombardment, and diminishing supplies eroded defensive morale. In contrast, sustained momentum reinforced confidence among attacking forces, strengthening their operational cohesion. The imbalance in psychological resilience became a critical factor, influencing the final outcome of the siege. The legacy of Dien Bien Phu extended into subsequent conflicts, influencing strategies and shaping international involvement in Vietnam. Its historical significance continues to inform modern perspectives on warfare, resistance, and national sovereignty. The outcome of Dien Bien Phu resulted from the interaction of terrain, logistics, leadership, and sustained operational discipline. It marked a decisive shift where asymmetric warfare demonstrated its ability to overcome conventionally superior forces. The battle redefined military assumptions, influencing strategic thinking across multiple generations of global conflict. Modern military institutions continue to analyze Dien Bien Phu as a foundational case in asymmetric and terrain-based warfare, Its lessons are applied in contemporary planning, particularly in environments where conventional advantages may be limited. The battle's influence extends beyond its time, shaping doctrines that remain relevant in current strategic contexts. Beyond military outcomes, Dien Bien Phu symbolized the broader transformation from colonial rule toward national self-determination. Its legacy reflects how historical struggles contribute to the formation of identity and long-term societal development. The event remains embedded within a larger narrative of global decolonization during the 20th century. What remains today is not the battlefield itself, but the enduring meaning carried forward through history. Dien Bien Phu stands as a reminder that decisive moments can reshape nations and influence the course of the world.